Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate, and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So lately this year, in 2025, I've been dealing with a lot of boredom. And it's interesting because you would think that, I work a W-2 job, full-time. I own 52 units of real estate, which is also almost a full-time job initially. Now it's more stabilized and takes me 4 hours a week. I create content on a consistent basis, you would say. I coach some students in my mentorship program. But despite all that, I still feel very bored. And it kind of hit me that, you would think that if you were to tell me, hey, Steven, in 5 years, let's say 5 years ago when I was 30, you told me in 5 years, Steven, you'd be worth $6.6 million, own 52 units of real estate, that cash flow $10K a month on average. I would say, wow, my life would be so amazing. It'd be so life-changing. I'd be balling. I'd be on yachts. Every day would be super exciting, super stimulating. Fast forward 5 years, I hit that goal. And from there, I basically I hit the goal. And it's a little underwhelming. I'm still working a W-2. I'm asset rich, cash poor, so it's hard for me to access a lot of the capital unless I sell. So right now, I kind of hit the goal that I over glamorified, maybe thanks to social media, thanks to Instagram and all those influencers who hyped it up, which is why I create my content, because I want to kind of hype it down and make it a little bit more realistic for people. And from there, it's just really underwhelming a little bit. I hit the goal and I'm bored. And I thought it'd be more exciting. But this is kind of the reality of owning real estate it is boring. And building wealth is boring. And it should be boring because boring is what works. Boring is what makes you the most successful. So for me, it's boring because you just have to hold onto your assets long term. When you buy it, it's exciting. You have to find the deal, make the offer, negotiate, close on the deal, do due diligence, renovate, spend money on renovations, manage a property manager, get new tenants in, evict tenants. It's very exciting, very stimulating, almost a part-time job. But once the apartment is stabilized, so the renovations are done, the tenants are stable, property manager knows what they're doing, everything is for the most part stable, and you're just collecting mailbox money at this point, that's when it starts to become boring. And then I look for more stimulation. But if you're always chasing not being bored, you might buy too much real estate and end up buying bad real estate. That's what happened to me in 2021. I bought my mobile home park because I thought it was a golden goose. I was bored. I was used to that excitement and that high of buying a lot of real estate, and then I got burned on that deal, right? And, all real estate investors, if you invest long enough, you will get burned. It's just a matter of when, not if. So with that, like I said, I hit boredom, and I'm pivoting back to my own personal life. So I'm focusing on my health, going to the gym again. I'm focusing on doing stuff with my wife. We just got married. We're traveling, and just navigating through that. But like I said, we only travel maybe 3-4 times a year, and on the weekends we might go on weekend trips. But for the most part, my work, it's just very bland, very boring. My problem is that I'm a fast learner, and I just get bored easily. That's a blessing and a curse. That's why I have a hard time thinking, how do people work at the same job for 30 years plus? The thought of that, as someone who's more growth oriented and entrepreneurial mindset, it's harder. So for me, I have to find ways to distract myself from this boredom without doing crazy things like buying more real estate, because it doesn't make as much sense right now given how interest rates are uncertain, unless it's a really amazing deal. So like I said, if you watch my other videos, I've been making offers at 50 to 60% less than what they want because it makes sense for me, and I know they're going to say no, but you make the money in the follow-up. So they say no initially, but I'll follow up in another month or 2 months, and every 2 months I'll follow up. And because a lot of sellers do not know, they're not in a desperate enough situation yet that they're going to sell at 50% off. So I'm just waiting for that time. And like I said, I don't need to buy more real estate. I'm okay as is. But if it's an amazing deal that makes sense for me right now, and I have the ability to raise the rents, do some renovations, and double the value, I'll buy those all day. Doesn't matter what the market is, but you have to buy it right is the key. And that's the hard part, to convince the sellers to sell an asset for, much less than what they want. So that's how you kind of have to play the game. So it's like having this patience with making, offers that make sense for you, which is typically going to be 50% less than what they want, and getting rejected and then following up. And it's very boring, right? Like you said, like I just had to put a Google Calendar, hey, follow up to this person that I made an offer on, and see if they change their mind. So that's really what it is for that. So like I said, I'm pretty bored right now, despite doing a lot of things. Like I do more than most people. So at this point, I've just been focusing on like networking with people who are like-minded. Basically find groups of friends that you could talk to, connect with, and they relate with you. Do more hobbies. So, maybe I can go back into playing tennis or doing gardening or doing whatever. And then on top of that, it's just really, focusing on my health, and then like doing activities, right? Like we like to do day trips, go exploring areas within a 2-hour radius of LA. You can see a lot of things, do a lot of traveling, which is nice, and just really focus on our life. So, like I said, and as we start to kind of family plan, for me, I want options and freedom. So, like I said, I don't find fulfillment from my W-2 job. I don't find fulfillment from real estate. I find fulfillment from kind of just doing what I want when I want on my own terms. And you kind of lose that a little bit when you have a W-2 job. Like obviously you have to report at a certain time and you have certain obligations and deal with certain people that you may or may not like. But until then, until I make that move and pull the trigger to sell some real estate to retire, I'm kind of stuck in this like kind of bored loop. So I'm just trying to like pass my time. And what's crazy is like, despite me being bored, my net worth is still going up over time because of compound interest. And that's the beauty of like compound interest, is it just goes up over time, slowly and gradually over time. So you kind of have to like distract yourself with something else. So that's the beautiful thing about like YouTube and, trying to build a community, is like I've people to talk to on a regular cadence. It gives me structure, it gives me schedule, it gives me something to look forward to. So that's what I've been trying to do now, is like just have something to look forward to on the weekends. Like at least something planned for half a day, a full day, and then the other day I could do my YouTube, my coaching, my side hustles. So it's this weird balance of like doing boredom but staying focused at the same time. But like I said, doing the boring work is what builds you the most wealth and kind of indicates that you're on the path to being successful. Is you kind of have to be bored a little bit, because you can't always be like constantly putting out fires. Like I know people on social media say, oh, I own like 20 businesses, but I know like probability wise, at best case, 95% of businesses make $1 million or less gross. So if you have 20 businesses, you make 20 million gross, but maybe your net might be like 1 or 2 million, but you're constantly running around putting out fires. And I don't want that. I don't want another job. So I remember my dad always told me it's better to be bored than stressed. And I'm definitely hitting that point where I'm just like extremely bored. And, I'm still a little bit stressed, but like managing the stress. Like it's ironic, I'm stressed about how bored I am. So that's really kind of an interesting thought in that sense. So that's why, to kind of summarize, I've focusing back on my fitness. So I'm going to the gym more consistently, picking up some old hobbies I used to do, and I'm trying to spend more time with my existing friends, do day trips on the weekends to keep me excited, and to try to make connections with new friends that I'm meeting through like YouTube, so that I have new people and fresh ideas to bounce off of, and maybe we can collaborate in the future. So that's a lot what I've been focusing on the past couple months, I would say, because it's been really interesting. It's just really simple, really boring, and the wedding's done, so not much thinking about that. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been having. Anyways, just wanted to share my thoughts as to why I'm so bored, despite hitting all my goals, despite hitting all my unit count, despite hitting my net worth goal. Still extremely bored. Anyways, if you want to become bored like me and buy multifamily real estate and want guidance, check the link down below. Otherwise, please like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.